Joining me on this India First special broadcast is Salman Soz, national spokesperson of the Congress Party, comes from Jammu and Kashmir. R.P. Singh is the national spokesperson of the BJP. Lieutenant General K.J.S. Dhillon, General Tiny Dhillon, incidentally, is former Director General of Defence Intelligence Agency and commanded the Chinar Corps, this entire Mahadev range, and the forest, the Dachigam forest area is right behind the Chinar Corps headquarters, extending all the way towards the Zojila area. Also with me is Dr. Tara Kartha, former director of the National Security Council Secretariat. Salman Soz, I want to begin by asking you, sir, the security forces say they've neutralized Suleiman Shah alias Musa this morning along with 2 other terrorists. Now, does that take the sting out of the opposition attack on where are the butchers of Pahalgam?
I don't know what sting this would be, but as far as we're concerned, it's been almost 100 days, and there have been no arrests, 0 arrests in this case. Now, there is an alleged mastermind, but as far as I remember, there were 5 terrorists who perpetrated that heinous attack on Pahalgam. We need to, I really think that people of India are sick and tired of this business of we kill terrorists, but we don't actually talk about why did terrorists kill 26 people? Why did they make 26 families orphan? We don't talk about that. We don't talk about why there was such a security lapse. So instead we focus on the aftermath. We don't talk about preparedness. We don't talk about risk management. We talk about, oh, we did this now. That is not, I'm sorry, that is not sufficient. That is not the appropriate thing. What would be appropriate is for the government today in Parliament, because that is the people's house, to say what led 5 terrorists go and kill 26 innocent people. They butchered them. They killed husbands in front of in front of new brides. We need answers for that. Now today,
oh, absolutely.
Maybe some terrorists have been killed. Maybe this is the mastermind, but I know there were 5 of them, and I don't know if there's any link to those 5 people. And we need answers for that.
RP Singh, respond. RP Singh, respond. This is source-based information. Why not come clean on this, and shouldn't perhaps Home Minister make a statement on this, on what has happened? Who are these people? Salman Soz says there were 5 people, so some 3 have been neutralized. What information do we have on those who've been killed, sir?
Well, Gaurav, those who were killed in Batla House, were they terrorists or not? I mean, you were there in that Batla House operation. Will Mr. Soz answer that? The tears were rolling down Mrs. Sonia Gandhi's cheek because the Batla House terrorists were killed. So they need proof for everything. But fact is that government of India make a statement on this account. They were asking proof for operations in Operation Balakot first, then surgical strike. Because this time there were pictures, there was videos of the Operation Sindur, and Pakistan has admitted, yes, 9 of their terrorist hideouts were hit, and their 11 army bases were hit. So they are not questioning that this time. Otherwise, they would have questioned that also.
Sir, but there's a pertinent question that Salman Soz asks. Sir, there's a pertinent question that Salman Soz asks. Intelligence failure. How did these terrorists come in? How did they kill, 26 innocent Indians? They singled out Hindus and massacred them. Salman Soz wants to know, why was the government or why were the security forces not able to prevent it or have any intelligence inputs on this?
Gaurav, this has been admitted by Colonel Jijuji during the initial meetings that there was an intelligence failure, and then government is already looking into it, what all happened and how did it happen. But again, they will keep shifting goalposts because they don't want answers to the questions. They want to just raise question on the valor of the Indian Army. Today, 3 terrorists have been killed. There are sources which are saying that they are being named. There are sources which are claiming that yes, they have linked to the Pahalgam, but they will question it now. No. Now the question is the intelligence failure. Now earlier the question was why did we went for a ceasefire on particular time? So That's their right to
So I'll
ask.
just come to
But
Operation Sindur in just a moment. I want to stay on Operation Mahadev for a moment because Operation Mahadev is also extremely, extremely significant. And General Dhillon, you commanded a corps in Kashmir. You were also Director General of India's Defense Intelligence Agency. Your appreciation of Operation Mahadev and 3 terrorists being neutralized. And if I may, when the opposition asks, there were 5 terrorists, 3 have been killed. What about the others, sir?
Gaurav, good evening and good evening to the fellow panelists and your viewers. First of all, I will not comment on any political comment per se or a political person making a comment. So I will keep it purely professionally defense-based or military-based reply. See, Operation Mahadev, it has come to the limelight today. It does not mean that Operation Mahadev started today. Operation Mahadev, as per my understanding, started the day 22 April Pahalgam incident happened. Security forces started getting onto the heels of the terrorists who had committed this heinous thing. And it is just that the area in that area is so bad, the forest is so dense, the slopes are so steep that, and there's hardly any civilian population out there other than some Bakrawals who are there with their livestock for the summer season. So it is an operation which was continuing and intelligence was being built over a period of time. And today, in a typical precision surgical strike, jisko bolte hain, headshot, and they were caught napping and sleeping. And I will still not say anything about the identity because it is the prerogative of the security forces to confirm the identity. But let me tell you from the photographs which are available on social media and on media, the type of weapons, the type of ammunition, the type of equipment, the type of dry rations which they were carrying, it was a very well-organized terrorist group. And it is to the credit of security forces that they could trail it for more than 3 months or whenever they got their whiff of intelligence about it and could neutralize them in clean operation. And when I say clean operation, it has got ramifications. Clean operation is when the terrorists don't come to know that they are being hit. So they don't get the time to clean up their technical or electronic gadgets. And all the information on their electronic gadgets, starting from the mobile phone to satellite phone to anything else which they have on person, will be now sent for forensic analysis. And too much of intelligence will emerge from that. Secondly, all the hard things like diaries or notebooks or some identity cards or some security keys, the code word keys, they would also be recovered in proper shape. And that would also be good for the intelligence and further operations. So operation is still going on. I would not like to comment on the operation and why the delay. The operation is going on, and I am very sure once the operation is over, the security forces would come out and give all the details. So I am not guessing any names. I am not guessing any affiliations. It is a good operation, and whatever has come out so far, I think it's a very clean operation, and the security forces must be complimented because I have walked in those jungles. I have walked in those jungles as a youngster, and I flew over those jungles as a corps commander. They are not easy areas to walk.
Dr. Tara Kartha, the kind of treasure trove of intelligence that may come, from their mobile phones, from the satellite phones and other warlike stores that may have been recovered while this operation is still on, because I believe 3 are dead, 3 others could be out there. One bit of information that I was told, of the terrorists, 2 locals had been arrested earlier, 3 have been neutralized now. Dr. Tara Kartha, is this a successful hit? But there is merit in the opposition saying major intelligence lapse that can't be covered up or brushed under the carpet.
No. First, let me take this issue of that it took so long, why did you take so long to get these people? If you look at the history of, and you of all people would know, in Kashmir, it takes time to get these people. This is not Mumbai. It is not an urban terrorism attack where a guy is firing and you have Tukaram Omble, the constable army trained, ex-army, to thank for that we caught, Ajmal Kasab. These are dense forests and it always takes time. It is meticulous, intelligence gathering, looking at stuff. And especially now, when they are not, by and large, not getting much local help, they are relying on staying within forests. Their food is not, they're not sourcing it directly from the locals. It is left somewhere, they collect it, talk to their Pakistani handlers. So it's a very complicated operation, extremely difficult to find. What we once had, I mean, what he would know, we had that whole communication task, all that doesn't exist anymore. So it's a different scenario. Number two, intelligence failure is very easy to say intelligence failure. If you wanted tourism in Kashmir, which we did majorly, you cannot blanket the area with troops. It just can't be done. Either you have troops or you have tourists. So I mean, I'm not saying it was a stark choice like that,
Okay.
but then that is how this works on the ground. If you want to normalize, I mean, if you go as a tourist, would you be happy seeing a bunch of, paramilitary forces around with their guns and things? That's not how it works. And number three, this point is very important. These people, I'm beginning to wonder if we should stop calling them terrorists and start calling them irregulars. These are battle trained, extremely well equipped people. They are somewhere between terrorists and regular army forces.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
a
you're
different.
absolutely right. Especially Musa, who was also a part of the Pakistan Army Special Services Group. He was a former commando of the Pakistan Army. But now from Operation Mahadev, I want to shift focus to Operation Sindur and that heated debate. 16-hour-long debate ultimately will happen in Parliament on Operation Sindur. It started today, of course, on quite a rocky note, had to be postponed twice. Initially, it was to start at 12:15. The Parliamentary Affairs Minister says the opposition put certain conditions which were unacceptable. So adjourned for an hour, then adjourned for an hour again. Then this information came about terrorists being neutralized. Finally, that debate started. The opposition targeted the Narendra Modi government for alleged intelligence failure, operational lapses, and failure, as the opposition puts it, on foreign policy. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar hit back, giving details of what the government was able to achieve, including rubbishing claims, and I'm told it's been made once again by US President Donald Trump, alleged mediation for a ceasefire. Listen in to Dr. Jaishankar. I'll get you more on the story.
Now, I would like, sir, to address one particular aspect because some members have brought it up. And this is regarding the US activity during this period. Sir, I'd like to inform the House that on the 9th of May, Vice President J.D. Vance called the Prime Minister, warning of a massive Pakistani attack in the next few hours. Prime Minister, in his response, made it very clear that if such an attack happens, it would meet with an appropriate response from our side. Now, sir, that attack took place and was foiled by our armed forces, and I think the House should collectively appreciate the performance of the armed forces in foiling what was a massive attack. Now, on the 10th of May, we received phone calls sharing the impression of other countries that Pakistan was ready to cease the fighting. Our position was, if Pakistan was ready, we needed to get this as a request from the Pakistani side through the DGMO channel. That is exactly how that request came. Now, I want to make two things very clear, sir. One, at no stage in any conversation with the United States was there any linkage with trade and what was going on. Secondly, there was, please listen. Secondly, there was no call between the Prime Minister and President Trump from the 22nd of April, when President Trump called up to convey his sympathy, and the 17th of June, when he called up Prime Minister in Canada to explain why he could not meet.
Salman Soz, External Affairs Minister, says there was no conversation between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the US President Donald Trump between the 22nd of April, the day of the Baisaran massacre, to the 17th of June, when the American president called up Prime Minister Narendra Modi to explain why they weren't meeting in Calgary on the sidelines of G7. So there was no question of Trump's intervention. Does the Congress party now concede there was no US intervention or mediation, as the External Affairs Minister says?
Gaurav, if you will, let me just quickly respond to what RP Singh said, and then I will respond to your question too.
Sure.
RP Singh basically alleged that the Congress Party criticizes actions of the security forces when we have these kinds of incidents. Let me say this: that RP Singh and the BJP are right now doing what they do best. When it is time to take credit, Prime Minister Modi is wearing military fatigues and he's wearing a military hat and he puts himself up front and everybody else is behind. When there is a problem, he hides behind security forces. I think that is cowardly. I think the BJP should understand that the people of India do not believe these kinds of attacks on the opposition, because we're asking questions on behalf of the soldiers of this country. We're asking questions on behalf of the people of this country. And that is what accountability is. That is how this country can progress. So please don't hide behind soldiers in this case. And by the way, I apologize. I don't remember the lady's name, but the lady talked about
Dr.
some sort of
Tarakartha?
sorry, Dr. Tarakanta. She talked about how there's a trade-off between with soldiers and tourists. I'm sorry, that's not the way we see it. If I don't know what the exact data is, but I don't think there is any lack of security forces in Jammu and Kashmir right now. I don't think that is the issue right now. I think there was an intelligence failure and we should accept it. And we should say, what can we do to learn from this kind of tragic incident? We should not try to brush things under the carpet. And now coming to your question, Gaurav, as far as Mr. Jaishankar is concerned and what he said today, look, let's be honest. The entire international media is ablaze with President Trump's utterances from day one. And at that time, neither Mr. Modi should have come out and say, look, I know that we are friends. I know President Trump and America are friends of India. But we do not accept this line. If he had come out right then and there, then it would be believable. After the fact, the foreign minister makes also this, they're obfuscating. They're obfuscating. That is not believable. I'm sorry. That is simply not believable. If the prime minister isn't this the same prime minister? Gaurav, I ask you, you know it. Everybody on this panel knows it. Everybody watching at home knows it. That the prime minister said, hum lal aankh dikhayenge. Where is that? Everybody knows that China supported Pakistan during Operation Sindur, and the defense minister will not name China. The prime minister will not name China. Why? But what will they do instead? They will triple the trade deficit with China from 2014 up to now.
Okay.
What kind of foreign policy is this? What is going on? We have to ask questions. We have to ask serious questions. This is about the country. This is not just politics.
Okay. So my question was very specifically on Donald Trump. I'll come to China in just a bit. RP Singh, you want to quickly respond. Dr. Tarakartha wants to respond on the security aspect, as will General Tiny Dillon, because there is a point that with your permission of the panel, I would also like to make, but RP Singh, go first.
Gaurav, I'm shocked at my friend from the Congress party, the way he's trying to build up this narrative. Fact is that MEA has categorically made it public what transpired between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi. The conversation which they had of 35 minutes, it was made public, and it was categorically said that no intervention was allowed, no intervention was sought, and also that it was the DGMO of the Pakistan which came forward and requested for a ceasefire, and thereafter the DGMO of India, after consulting whoever he has to consult, took a call. But they don't believe him. They don't believe in the MEA. I mean, they'll still keep believing Donald Trump, or they'll keep believing whoever they want to believe. But if I go by their parameter, then I should believe Obama also, President Obama also, who in his book has categorically stated that Manmohan Singh didn't took action because he was concerned about the fervor of the nationalism which would take place after if they would have attacked 26/11, and that could have benefited the BJP. I mean, imagine this. And the party is talking about Donald Trump, but the fact says that it has been made amply clear by the minister himself in the parliament, and also the prime minister himself when he spoke to the Donald Trump, that no intervention was sought as far as the ceasefire goes.
Okay. Okay, Dr. Tara Kartha, you want to quickly respond because there are two things I want to play out right now. Donald Trump has once again intervened and has claimed about his intervention that led to a ceasefire. I also want to bring in what the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, he rose to speak to intervene in Parliament, alleging or saying that the opposition has more faith in outsiders and foreigners than the External Affairs Minister of India. We'll also play out what the Home Minister said. But Dr. Tara Kartha, please go in first on the aspect of soldiers versus tourists, the point that Salman Soz raised.
No, I think it is obviously a valid point. I mean, I think the opposition has every right to question it. I mean, this is very clear. But the thing is, see, Mr. Soz, it's difficult for us in this 2 minutes to make you understand. Every time we have tried to normalize Kashmir, for example, even the earlier attacks, when we pulled back troops, they've attacked. You remember the attack in Pulwama? That was the convoy got attacked because we had reduced the troop concentration and the movement types. You know, the kind of the checks, and which is extremely harassment of the population. You know, you stop them here, you stop them there, you check them. All that had been reduced. Is that intelligence failure? Well, perhaps, I mean, you have every right to ask. And we should, definitely we should probe this. But this is the nature of the beast. The moment you start trying normalize, which is vital, that Kashmir should normalize. And I think this government, I am not a political person at all. I've served with Congress and BJP. So I'm just saying the normalization of Kashmir is vital. Otherwise, you don't win.
And if I may, there are some things about national security that need to be above party politics. It is a fact. Yes. And everybody who's either in Jammu Kashmir or from Jammu Kashmir or covered operations in Jammu Kashmir, the moment you reduce security forces and create a vacuum, you know, Pakistan state-sponsored terror moves into that vacuum. We've seen it when brigades were removed from South Kashmir, when sectors were removed, terrorists moved into that vacuum. We've bled repeatedly because of that. Take, for example, when uniform force was removed and sent to the northern areas for the protection of our northern borders, you had terrorists who moved into that vacuum. So, you know, that's very clear. But before I get you more on the story, I want you to listen in. One, to what Donald Trump has said once again, and listen in to Amit Shah's intervention.
Of the 5, now this would be 6 that we've stopped. I've stopped 6 wars in the last, I'm averaging about a war a month. But the last 3 were very close together. India and Pakistan and a lot of them. 2 countries that we get along with very well, very different countries from certain standpoints. They've been fighting for 500 years, intermittently. And we solved that war. You probably saw it just came out over the wire, so we solved it through trade. I said, I don't want to trade with anybody that's killing each other.
So this perhaps, if I were to go by the number of times the Congress claims Donald Trump has repeated this claim, 25 was the earliest claim, and this is the 26th claim by Donald Trump. One, of course, last time he said these 2 countries have been fighting for 1,000 years. Now he says they've been fighting for 500 years, and that he dangled that trade offer and said, you guys stop fighting or there will be no trade. The Home Minister, of course, when External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar reiterated that Donald Trump did not intervene, and he said there was no conversation between April 22nd conversation and the 17th of June conversation. Listen in to what the Union Home Minister, he had to rise and speak to the opposition. Listen in.
इस मंत्री जी को संरक्षण देना चाहिए. उनके स्पीकर जब बोल रहे थे, हम पूरे धैर्य से सुने. मैं बताऊंगा कितनी असत्य बातें बोली गई कल, परंतु फिर भी असत्य को भी हम हलाहल समझकर पी गए. अब ये सत्य भी नहीं सुन पाते हैं. माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, मुझे लगता है आपको प्रोटेक्शन देना चाहिए. बैठे बैठे टोका टोकी करना सबको आता है, ऐसा नहीं हमें नहीं आता, मगर इतने गंभीर विषय पर चर्चा जब हो रही है तो सरकार के प्रमुख विभाग के मंत्री को बोलते हुए बैठे बैठे टोकना ये विपक्ष को शोभा देता है क्या? मान्यवर, आपने बिल्कुल उनको आग्रह से कहना चाहिए वरना हम भी हमारे मेंबर को बाद में समझा नहीं पाएंगे।
Dr. Tara Kartha, before I bring in our political guests, I want you to weigh in on this. Repeatedly, Donald Trump insists he mediated for peace between India and Pakistan and he dangled the trade carrot. Government of India says that never happened. What do you make of Trump's intervention?
He's now talking of intervening between Cambodia and Thailand, again with trade.
Yes, imagine.
I mean,
And Malaysia said that didn't happen. I mean, the Malaysian foreign minister went on record to say that never happened.
Exactly. I mean, this is a Malaysian, mediation which is going on. And someone who says 500 years we've been fighting, I mean, I'm amazed that the opposition even takes it seriously. However, what I think it's actually a very fine distinction. The Pakistanis went running to the US. They do that every single time. We know that,
I
right?
remember from Kargil, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So they did it. So finally, maybe they called us and we said, you tell the DGMOs to talk. That's what happened. You want to call that mediation? Go ahead and call it what you want. But understand the fact that the Pakistan DGMO called you and that's why you stopped. That is a plain and simple fact. There was US intervention because the Pakistanis went running to them. So, I mean, I actually don't see what the problem is here. And
Okay.
then sorry, should I'll stop there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, so let me bring in Salman Soz because we want to understand, and Salman Soz, the government of India has made it very clear there was no US mediation. The External Affairs Minister on the floor of the House is saying multiple interlocutors spoke to us and he's giving details about how Pakistan was repeatedly targeted. The Defense Minister spoke of initially targeting 9 terrorist training camps, including Bahawalpur and Murid Ke. Tongue firmly in cheek, government also says from a party or a government, Congress government, that did nothing after 26/11, they expect us to do more. But I'll come to that point in just a moment. When the government says that we did not seek US mediation, US did not mediate. When US contacted us, as did other foreign countries, because there are 2 countries that are at war, we said, tell the Pakistani DGMO to call our DGMO and seek a ceasefire. There will be ceasefire. This is non-escalatory. Is that difficult to believe, sir? Why does the Congress not believe that?
So first, again, I'm sorry I have to go to the previous points because I try not to
Go on, sir.
intervene when you speak.
Yes.
We should all look back at history, and in the last 25 years, the fewest number of soldiers who were martyred in J&K was in 2012. That is also the year when the fewest number of people have died in J&K since the start of this whole spate of violence in Jammu and Kashmir. So clearly things were working well at some point. Okay. Now, I don't know if there's any evidence to suggest that any troop drawdown led to, say, Uri, led to Pulwama, RDX, so much RDX to kill 40 CRPF Jawans, and now this terrorist attack in Baisaran. I don't see any evidence. I have not read any evidence which suggests that troop drawdown is linked directly to an escalation of violence, because in 2012, I can guarantee you, there was no troop drawdown. Okay? Because 2012 happened after 2010, when we had a lot of violence in Kashmir. So
Yes.
I'm sorry, I humbly kind of disagree with this line. Now on Donald Trump and all this, I think what we are seeing, Gaurav, the bigger issue is that somehow we want to, within our own country, within our own kind of discourse, we want to say everything's okay. But we know that there are problems, and there are serious problems. And that is why foreign policy is so closely linked to what is what happened during Operation Sindur. I know that General Dillon would want to come in for his own points. I don't want to take too much time, but I will just say this. I know that the government has been saying that nothing happened during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time. But I can tell you that during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, the Financial Action Task Force put Pakistan on the grey list. The UN Security Council passed resolutions against terrorist groups in Pakistan by name. And this time, not one country barring Israel came to India's support openly, not even France, which sold us Rafale jets, not the United States, none of the G7s, none of the G20s, nobody.
The External Affairs Minister responded to that.
No
RP Singh,
FATF, no
RP Singh,
one final,
Sure,
5 seconds.
go on, sir.
One final 5 seconds. And we know, everybody knows that Chinese technology and Chinese support, logistical support, was used by Pakistan against India. And we do not name China at all, knowing that that's a rival nation. We know also, by the way, that Russia, which is our long-time old ally, is only 7% of the US economy. It is half the Indian economy. We cannot rely on Russia like we used to, because it is closer to China now. Where is our foreign policy? What is going on in this?
RP Singh, you want to quickly respond to these points?
Well, it seems to be that my friend from the Congress party or other Congress member has started using Chinese hearing aid. I mean, they don't hear to what the foreign minister has said in the parliament. I mean, he has categorically stated which all nations supported India during Operation Sindur, whether it was Quad, whether it was BRICS, whether it was the Central Asia, and whether it was the Middle East, the OIC, which didn't supported Pakistan during all that period. But fact is, again, they have to keep repeating the lies again and again to build up their narrative. They have all the right, but they don't believe on the Indian Minister of External Affairs. They believe in Donald Trump. That's the shocking part. I mean, how many times it has been told that Donald Trump could have reasons for his own agenda to speak what he's speaking, but fact is that the ceasefire happened because of the DGMO of Pakistan approached Indian DGMO, and Indian DGMO, after talking to his bosses, then went for the ceasefire. I mean, that's very clear on it. But as Congress is, I mean, we can't help them. They can keep building up, or they keep trumping on what they want to trump. But one very small thing. Sosa, let me not get very personal, but what do Sofuddin Sosa has to say about the Operation Sindhur?
No, but what does the son have to do with what the father may believe? No, unless you want to answer that, Salman.
I just wanted, I know that RP Singh has in the past also asked about my father. My father's almost 90 years old. He has his own views. And I'm here as the Congress spokesperson talking about what our party believes in. And let me tell you,
Mr. is also a very senior congressman.
I did not interrupt you, RP Singh ji. Let us have a civil discussion. I'm saying that as far as the Congress party is concerned, when Operation Sindur was launched, when this terrorist attack happened, the Congress party firmly, through a Congress Working Committee resolution, stood by the government, stood by the troops, and that is where we are. It is, by the way, do remember, everybody knows that the politicization of Operation Sindur started with the BJP. Everybody knows this. And I think that was not a very good thing to do, because that divided.
The External Affairs Minister also responded. The External Affairs Minister also responded on the aspect of China and Pakistan coming together after or during Operation Sindur. That's the charge leveled by the opposition. The External Affairs Minister actually went back in history, way back to 1947-48, what happened in the Shaksgam Valley, how Shaksgam Valley was ceded to China by Pakistan, and how those countries came together then, including their nuclear cooperation from 76, what happened in 86, and more. Listen in to the External Affairs Minister.
Some members also raised issues pertaining to China. So I would like to spend a few minutes on that. So I would first like the House to appreciate, because today we are getting these lectures saying China is a great danger, China, Pakistan are together, we are warning you. So what does the Congress party really think about China? Don't go by what they say. Let us see what they did. In 2005, China was designated as a strategic partner during Prime Minister Wen Jiabao's visit to India. Strategic partner. And there is a concept, very famous concept called Chindia, sir, a belief that China and India have common interest, and the main proponent of Chindia is the party spokesman of the people opposite. Now, some some mention was made about visits, including my visit. Yes, I went to China. I went to China to make our position very clear about de-escalation, about trade restrictions, and about terrorism. I did not go to China for the Olympics. I did not go to China for secret agreements. I did not go. Sir, the House should know that people were watching Olympics when China was issuing stapled visas for people from Arunachal Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. This is the reality of China.
Salman Soz, did the External Affairs Minister just turn the knife in very gently but would hurt? You know, the Congress was saying that China wasn't even named. Not by the defense minister, since the defense minister was talking about the defense, the military action that took place vis-a-vis Pakistan. It's the external affairs minister, and he spoke at length, sir.
You know, the external affairs minister can speak as much as he wants about China. The only time they don't speak about China is when they have to be critical of China, when they have to openly say that you cannot have friendly relations with India as long as you're supporting and enabling a nation that is basically, conducting terrorism in India. My question to the foreign minister would be this: if there is a secret
tell me something, sir. Shouldn't this have been, practice what you preach? The external affairs minister went back to 47, 48. Why didn't the Congress government say it then? 63 when Shaksgam Valley was ceded. Why didn't the Congress government say it then? 76, 86. He's recounting that entire series about how the Congress dealt with China and how the Narendra Modi government is dealing with China.
And yes. In fact, it's great that they are talking about history, but also they should not run away from the present. They're running away from the present because if they have dealt with China in a very good way, let us be honest, Gaurav. If they've dealt with China in a very good way, then why is it that we are so dependent on Chinese imports? And by the way, somebody from the BJP was just yesterday extolling the virtues of the UK-India free trade agreement and saying that now our dependence on China would be lower. It just boggles the mind that they don't even understand what we import from China is not the same thing that we import from the UK. That is a level of intellectual depth in the BJP. That is why this country is in trouble when it comes to China. Look, China is a rival nation. Despite all our efforts,
okay,
we wanted to be friends with China. China wanted to be friends, we thought, with us. But a lot of water has flown under the bridge since that time,
okay,
right? And where are we now? We have to look at now. And by the way, the foreign minister talked about today, he talked about in parliament that there is a secret agreement. Mr. Foreign Minister, I tell you on national television, if there is a secret agreement, take all of your government's institutions and put them to task and say, where is that secret agreement? Why?
RP Singh, where is that secret agreement allegedly between the Congress party and the Chinese Communist Party?
Spreading conspiracy theories in parliament.
Okay, RP Singh, quickly respond, sir.
Gaurav, we all know, there's a pictures, there are videos on record. Mr. Rahul Gandhi has signed an agreement with the Chinese Communist Party with the blessing of Sonia Gandhi and Xi Jinping. And this is all known. There's nothing to hide. In fact, they're hiding it. And we also know the money came into Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. But who went for lunch during Doklam with the Chinese ambassador or Chinese authorities here for understanding the war with China? Or who has praised China through and through? One. Secondly, remember that Sham Charan, the NSA member, who categorically said that the 640 kilometers were yielded during UPA regime, and General Narawane's statement, who was on record, said that not an inch of land of India has been yielded by India to China.
So one part of this Sindur debate has happened today. The second part takes place tomorrow, and it promises to be extremely scintillating. And on India First, we will get you all details, all aspects of this conversation on national security, and it must be debated threadbare so that India moves together. Whether it's the Congress or the BJP or any other political party, it's India against India's adversaries to keep India first. Salman Soz, RP Singh, Jel Dhillon, and Tara Kartha for joining me here on India Today. As always, many thanks.